Dr. Lau, you have a visitor.
Oh,
Good evening, Dr. Lau.
hello? And you are...
Surely you recognize him.
Oh, Dr. Vargas, you're the Central Operations Coordinator.
Quite so, young lady.
I apologize for the mess, sir. If I'd known we were going to have such important visitors.
That's quite all right, Dr. Lau.
What brings you from the Fulcrum Tower, sir?
A most grave matter, I'm afraid. One I believe you specifically to be most suited to handle.
Shall I, Father?
Please do, Galatea.
Central, I believe the audio EM capture system in this room to be faulty. Please run a deep diagnostic on the system.
Certainly, Miss Vargas. Beginning scan.
We have perhaps 2 minutes until the diagnostic cycle is complete.
Dr. Lau, have you heard of a gentleman by the name of Baxter?
Dr. Adam Baxter, convicted murderer?
And a brilliant engineer in his time.
Yes, I've heard of him. My partner had a history with him. His parole hearing and eventual release really got to Dr. Regis.
Quite so. Poor Viksha. I don't think Charlie ever got over it. And unfortunately, it appears that he's taking things into his own hands.
You have a connection to Regis as well?
Quite so. He worked for me in a research team, as did Baxter in the same project.
And Viksha Regis?
Precisely. We lost half of the team in one fell swoop that day.
Dr. Lau, when did you last see Dr. Regis?
Last night, before Central went into siege mode. Why? What's happened?
This morning, Dr. Baxter was found dead in his workplace.
Oh no. Oh, Charlie, no.
I share your concern, Dr. Lau.
Central believes Dr. Regis to be the most likely suspect. He would have known that Central would be unable to provide oversight during the siege.
And he had no shortage of motive, as I'm sure you'd agree.
You're the controller of Central Operations. Why would you need to cut the camera feed with a trick like that?
I apologize, but for the sake of city security...
Yeah, can't tell me. Classified, ultraviolet A, etc.
I'm glad you understand.
I might understand, but I'm not happy about it.
Noted, Dr. Lau.
It just doesn't sound like him, though. He had other outlets, like his garden.
I don't fully agree with Central's assessment either. That is why I'm activating you on this case.
You want me to investigate Baxter's murder with my partner as the prime suspect? Isn't that a pretty serious conflict of interest?
It is within my prerogative to select agents I feel appropriate for casework, if necessary. Using it to aid an old friend, a good man, like Charlie Regis, I think that's worthwhile.
Remember that your primary responsibilities are to the law and to this city.
I think I've heard enough.
That's good to hear. I'll have Galatea email the case data to you. If I can be of any further help, don't hesitate to drop by my office.
At the top of the Fulcrum Tower, make an appointment beforehand.
Diagnostic cycle of monitoring systems complete. No wetware or firmware anomalies detected. However, please ask Dr. Regis to stop obstructing the lens assembly.
I wish you luck with your work, Dr. Lau, for Regis's sake.
I don't even know where I'm going. I'd better download the case file Dr. Vargas's assistant sent me.
Ow! Hey, what was that? That's a lot of green. Excuse me.
Great, they finally sent someone. You here to get the body out?
Maybe. I'm Max Lau, cell case specialist.
No kidding. I'm the lab director, Dr. Zvidzai Chigwa. Make it quick, I'm busy.
What's your role here?
I'm the supervisor for the telepresence factoring labs. Most of it's automatic. I just make sure it's all running like it should.
Sounds like a big responsibility.
It's a lousy job most of the time. TP is where management sticks people they don't want in public-facing roles.
You're not happy with it?
For the last few years, my career has been one disaster after another. I'm just glad it's plateaued into some kind of stability.
Can you tell me what happened?
Baxter got killed.
In any more detail?
When we started this afternoon, a whole lot of samples had been tampered with. We tried to call Baxter to find out what the hell was going on in the specimen bank.
And he didn't answer.
He didn't. Turned out the door to the specimen bank was locked too.
You haven't seen the body?
No, not in person, if that's what you mean. We got the camera feed online, but it was obvious that Baxter wasn't going to be coming out.
When did you last see him?
Guess it could have been Wednesday?
So he could have been killed any time in the past 3 days?
I guess, but it wouldn't fit with everything else.
What's the purpose of this lab? Plant studies?
Yes and no. It's a TP lab, telepresence. There's a lot of research that's not exactly legal in some countries.
But in Newton, pretty much anything goes.
Exactly. If someone in the EU needs research done on something hazardous, infectious, or endangered, they send the orders here and we carry out the testing.
What sort of research?
Mostly we make new angiosperms from scratch. That's flowering plants to you.
Gee, thanks. Why would people want new flowers?
Sometimes it's a drug delivery method. The earliest commercial examples were fruit that grew packed with insulin. A lot of new wetware begins its life as engineered fruit too.
Must be awkward if they cross-pollinate in the wild.
And a legal headache. Part of our job is making sure the copy protection works.
Copy protection in plants? Ouch. Aside from yourself, who else works in this laboratory?
There's my intern, Martin Neester, operates the factoring line. If you meet him, it's easy to see why they put him in here. And until recently, there was Dr. Baxter.
Tell me about Mr. Neester.
He came over from Eurofed on a study program. He's young. I guess we're all like that in our youth.
Good colleague?
He's all right. He got on board with that annoying Maladist trend. He knows how to follow instructions, so I let him get on with it.
His visa still active?
Dr. Lau, we do not employ undocumented illegals in this lab.
Just have to check. I'm sure you understand. Tell me about Dr. Baxter.
Ugh, he was bad enough to work with in the 60s. As part of his parole, they stuck a governor in his head. Since then, it's like talking to a badly written synthetic.
You don't care for him a great deal.
That man killed Vicky. Frankly, he deserved what he got.
But you still work with him.
He worked for me. It was another part of his parole. Vickerman's management persuaded centralized government that his skills were going to waste in prison. The company wanted him supervised by someone who knew him. Hence, they dragged my sorry ass in.
What did you have him doing?
He organized the specimen bank. It's the kind of thing we could just leave him at for hours on end. Days, sometimes. Really, it could have just been done by the facility's AI, but I had to give him something.
Otherwise, you'd have to talk to him?
Exactly.
You've got a keen mind. What's your take on this?
Hey, I'm not the detective, young lady. You know what I think? I think Regis did what they ought to have done 20 years ago.
Why do you say that?
Seems logical. We've got him coming into the labs on security, then we got him coming out an hour later. When we get here, we've got Baxter's corpse contaminating the specimen bank.
Anything else?
Well, something strange. Since we got in, we keep finding samples that have been tampered with. Looks like he spent his hour here messing up the genomes of our specimens.
That quickly?
If anyone was good enough to do it that fast, it'd be Charlie.
You knew Regis as well.
Yeah, I was on a research team with him and his wife back in the 60s. Baxter, too.
You've apparently known him a long time. Does this seem like something Regis would do?
Oh, after what he did to Vicky, I'd have strangled Baxter too. I tell you, if he did do it, I wouldn't blame him one bit.
Do you think he did it, though?
I don't know. He was always kinda shady.
Tell me about it.
They made him do some real awful stuff out in the hot zones.
Such as...
Let's just say his escape led to a whole lot of people being jailed for war crimes.
You seem preoccupied.
That obvious, huh? We found a couple of specimens that Regis tampered with in his hour here. So I gotta run through the catalog and dig out the backups.
Sounds straightforward.
Not when there's 11,000 samples to take. Oh, I could punch Regis for this. Though, I want to shake his hand for Baxter so it kinda evens out.
What's been done to the samples?
He's used a customized viral vector to add huge amounts of junk DNA to their genomes. These are the last two I found, Medioflorens interensis and Linacia lawsonis.
May I have a look?
Do you think it'll help?
Just a hunch. Huh. Non-binary. Quaternary data string?
What do you mean?
My wetware systems are interpreting the genomes of these plants as sections of an audio file. He's used the DNA to store information.
You think so?
It's incomplete. The two samples only make up a third of the data, but M and L, my initials? This can't be a coincidence. He's left a message.
What does it say?
Not sure yet. I could probably construct the whole message if I can find where he's hidden the rest of it.
Safe to say it's in the other plants he's engineered. Here, take this. You can sample DNA from the plants around the lab. If you run out of sampling cartridges, you can reload it at this console.
Thanks. How long would it take to sample everything in the lab?
Only a couple of years. We have over 11,000 subjects. You're better off looking for specimens that would fill the gaps in the clue he left.
So, you worked with Regis and his wife, as well as Baxter. Did you also work for Dr. Vargas?
That Papa's ass? Yeah, I worked for him.
You don't care for him.
He was a competent researcher, but he lives for politics. Everything was always about making the world a better place.
And you don't think it should be better?
It's a nice idea, just not realistic. And what we ended up making, it was... actually, never mind.
What happens in the specimen bank?
It's where the samples of plants and growth matrices are stored. There's a huge library of subjects to work with, natural and man-made.
And that's where Baxter worked?
Yeah, it's not exactly taxing. I wanted to see what he could do since they put a governor in him.
You left him to work alone in there?
I'll be honest, he was not a pleasant man to talk to.
I wonder why Regis hid a message inside the DNA of these plants.
DNA's been used as a data storage medium before. Rather than on-off binary, DNA would be quaternary bits. Adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. If he just left a message on one of the systems, though, or even on paper...
Then someone could have destroyed or erased it. Short of burning down the entire lab, they'd have no way to be sure they destroyed a message hidden like this.
Especially since he's scrambled so many of the other samples as camouflage.
He needs to make sure it's found, and based on the layout, he wants me to find it. Have you found anything else with added genetic data?
As a matter of fact, I have. There was a batch of Orchidaceae isotria in the growth lab, and...
And?
I can't remember exactly which specimen the other was. I do remember that it had yellow flowers, variegated, that is, multicolored leaves, and produced large, round fruit.
Why didn't the facility's CI detect Baxter's vitals suddenly failing? It's a potentially hazardous environment in here.
We were wondering that as well. This afternoon we noticed the monitoring system in the sample lab was in recursion. All hell broke loose when the CI suddenly realized what had happened.
So either you've got a technical fault with the software or wetware interfacing,
Which is unlikely given how much they cost.
or someone breached the security systems to cover Baxter's murder. That gives me more hope. Regis would have no idea how to do that. What sort of research were you conducting in the 60s?
You mean with Charlie and his wife? You might not believe it, but we were the people behind Central.
Central? The city governing AI Central?
The same. Newton was looking for a coordinator AI. Vargas put together a team including the new Mr. and Mrs. Regis.
Nuke me. Regis never mentioned anything about this.
It wasn't a happy memory for him. He left after the unpleasantness. We finished the project a few months later.
Huh. Might explain why he hates Central's guts.
Is that all?
For now.
Then if you'll excuse me, I'll get back to work.
I've taken a DNA sample from it. Hi there.
When do you offer a mechanical holiday?
My name's Dr. Max Lau. I'm a cell case specialist.
Is a person of the worst living as a survival pull the battle of long-term stayers in their roots?
You're not making any sense.
With caveat.
Are you alright?
Monsters angrily destroy the secret paper.
What's your role at this facility?
The robot dramatically cleaned the screaming pile of biscuits.
Uh-huh. Can I get your name?
The Morrow Sizzle.
Okay. I give up.
Yet Fox dramatically sat on the secret arm.
Excuse me, Dr. Chigwa?
Make it quick, I'm busy.
I tried talking to your intern. It wasn't helpful.
Oh, never mind that. He's got aphasia.
Isn't that treatable?
Oh, yes. He just gave it to himself. It's what the kids are into these days.
Crippling neurological disorders?
Yes and no. Maladism, they call it. They give themselves old diseases. It only lasts about a week each time.
And you let him do that?
He's not public-facing, and as long as it doesn't get in the way of his work. I figure we all did things the old folks thought were stupid back when we were kids.
I need to ask Meester about the tampered specimens. How do I cure his aphasia?
Well, you wouldn't really cure it. He doesn't actually have the disease. It's essentially wetware designed to occupy the Wernicke and Broca regions of the brain. This then produces the symptoms of the disease. That's what they're going for.
I can't wait a week for the wetware to break down.
Find a way to break it down early then. If we've got an emergency contamination, we use hydroxypyruvate isomerase. It's an enzyme that instructs the fabricators in wetware to disassemble themselves. Is that all?
For now.
Then if you'll excuse me, I'll get back to work.
There's some more.
Try to explain.
I'm going to need to find where he's hidden the rest of the message before I get any sense out of it.